Hey guys, welcome to Better Drums, the 10-week Church Drummer Challenge Quarantine Edition, and we are on to week 9, the second to last week here. And so again, we're working through the ebook, which you can download free at my website, haroldheisen.com, and you can work through it chapter by chapter, or you can actually download the whole thing, and it's got audio examples, video examples, and the idea is to teach you how to read. So this is the 9th week. If you missed any of the previous ones, please do check out those videos. They're on YouTube, Instagram, and on Facebook. So we're moving along with the idea that we've been developing for the past couple of weeks now, where we take an idea, and this could be any idea that you have, that you hear, or that you come up on your own, and you try to get mileage out of it. Come up with variations of playing something that you play well and that you like that will make it sound different in some way. And so here's the original idea for this week. All right, and I'll put it with a groove so you can hear it in that context. Okay, so that's the original idea. And then the question is, what are some things that I can do with this idea to make it sound different so I could have more uses or apply it in different ways? So the first thing that we can do is move it around the drums. And so this idea, and if you've been reading along so far, you can see here that we're dealing with the snare, the rack tom, which on my rolling pad is here, and the floor tom, which on, again, the rolling pad is one pad over. And so this fill-in sounds like this. Okay, and then we'll move along again to another way that we can change it, and that's simply by keeping the rhythm the same but changing the sticking. Many times when you change the sticking, it changes the way something sounds. So actually when you listen to how drummers play a fill-in, the sticking will change how it sounds or how it relates. So be aware of stickings and how they can impact things you do. And many times changing a sticking can make an idea a lot easier to play. So simply changing a sticking can be the difference of making a fill-in very difficult to play, and the same fill-in that sounds exactly the same way, it's just much easier to play with the right sticking. All right, so this one sounds like this. Okay. And then we'll move along to the next one, subbing a foot. All right, so this one sounds like this. And to the last one for the examples. And there are more examples in this chapter. And of course, you can come up with many different ways yourself of how you can take these kind of ideas or whole different ideas that you can apply to different ideas to spin them in completely different ways and get more unique sounds out of it. So in this one, we're going to add to the idea. So in beat 3, it used to be just an 8th note off the beat. And now we're filling it with 16th notes, and that sounds like this. I'll go ahead and put it with the groove. Okay. And so last week we worked on a new time signature called 6/8. And so that was 6 beats to the measure. This week we're looking at one that you'll also run into as a church drummer, and it is 3/4. And here is one popular song that uses 3/4, but in this chapter there are a number of different songs that we look at, and so this one would sound like this. So the way you count 3/4, instead of 6/8 was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, with kind of the emphasis every 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it has this triple feel underneath. This one has a duple feel. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay? So, I mean, the best thing you can do with this is listen to songs. Well, hopefully you're going to play them in your church as well, but listen to songs that have these meter. Try to count along and then try to play along, and the more you do something, the more comfortable you get with it, really. So there's no way around that. Just try to practice it, and I guarantee you'll get better at it. So the next one for 3/4, also from In Christ Alone, sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay, and then we've got one more here, Before the Throne of God, and you'll see that this one has what looks like a single stroke roll. The stickings aren't given. I guess we could play it a couple of different ways, but I'm going to play it as a single stroke roll, and it has accents. So the symbols that you see below that look like a greater than symbol are the accents. And so this one, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, Okay, so 3/4. You don't run into it too often. It's possible that maybe your church doesn't even play it. But it's no excuse not to know it when it does come up. So even if you said, well, I don't think it's likely my church is going to play this, well, what if one day they do? So better always to be over prepared than to get yourself caught off guard. So then the next thing that we're looking at here, and we've been working on these different ostinatos in the feet. The idea being, if I'm going to spend time practicing anyway, I might as well try to do something with my feet so I'm not just working out my hands. So it's also the feet and the coordination aspect. So we're taking the idea from the previous chapter of using the splashed hi-hat. So you kind of bounce the hi-hat there with the bass drum. Sounds like this. Okay, and then I'm going to play. You'll see that there's no sticking here, but I could go ahead and apply single stroke, double stroke, or other rudiments like single paradiddle, for example. So let me just show you single stroke roll with this. Let's go ahead and put on a metronome. So remember, a metronome you can use to improve your sense of time. This is 120 BPM. Okay, or I could use single stroke roll. 2, 3, 4. Okay, and so you could, repeat that for 3, 5 minutes, whatever you felt like, just to work out your hands. You could adjust the metronome speed to other tempos that you're playing in church just to get comfortable with it. All right, so other rudiments we can work on with this idea of a splashed hi-hat is the flam. So something like this. Or even the drag. So with the drag, sounds like this. And beyond just working on the ability to play with the hands and the foot, try to listen if there's any flamming. So here, when you look at the notes, you can see that the third snare, there's 2 grace notes, the small snare notes, to the main snare note, the bass drum and the hi-hat are all together. So can you make these sound together, or does it sound like this kind of flammed mess? And so if that does happen to you, that's something where you can slow down the tempo and try to work it out, because in the end, it's going to make your groove unsettling. And sometimes people can't put their hand on, or their finger on, like, hey, how come this drummer, something is kind of, doesn't feel quite right compared to, say, drummer B over there. And many times it's something as simple as this. And as simple as that sounds, it's actually quite difficult to fix it. But once you know about it, it does make life easier. Once you can hear it, at least you know how to fix it, right? So then we've been working on these different snare drum pieces. And so here you see a snare drum piece, and this is the snare drum piece that uses the 16th notes. And so now we've got the same ostinato, with a splash hi-hat, and we're going to try to play it to a snare drum piece. This isn't the whole snare drum piece, so check out the chapter, check out the book, and the whole thing is there. So it's longer than this, but I'll go ahead and play this part for you right now. So check it out. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and so that's all that we have for that example. And then we're moving on with the hand exercises. So last week we looked at, going from the double stroke roll, single stroke roll to double stroke roll to inverted doubles, and then switching the lead as 16th notes. So this week what we're doing is we're actually working on it as 30-second notes. And so within the book there are video examples, and so that's what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually play you a part of the book that you can access on YouTube through the links that are included in the book. And these are designed to help you learn the material. So here it is, the hand exercise as 30-second notes. Okay, so I love stuff like that where you can work on something in different subdivisions. Again, it's just the idea of taking one thing you do well and trying to throw it across different variations to get different sounds for it so that you can get the most bang for buck, if you will, on that. So if you're going to learn it as 16th notes, might as well go to 32nd notes and 8th notes and be comfortable with the different variations there. Then we're working on ostinatos as well. So last week we worked on these similar ostinatos, so single-handed 16ths with stepped quarter notes and eighths. So 1, 2, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. And the next one I'm going to throw up sounds like this: 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. So those two ostinatos, but we were working on them with 8th note grooves. And so this week we're working on it with 16th note grooves. So you can see that the bass drum, we're using some positions of the E and the not just the 1 and the and, or the 2 and the and so forth. And so this first one sounds like this. Okay, and then if we move on to the second variation of it, sounds like this. Okay, and so in this chapter, we'll actually look at a lot of different grooves. So I just pulled out one groove and gave you the two different examples here, but we'll look at many different grooves that we had worked on earlier in the book, working on it with this ostinato. And again, this is great for coordination and just building your ability to be free on the drums. So the next thing we got up is, again, 32nd notes. So the previous week, I think we also worked on it as 16th notes, but now we're going to the hand-foot exercise. So earlier I showed you a video of just the hand exercise, but now the hand-foot exercise as 32nd notes. And so if I put this is just a part of the exercise, and I'll let you check out the chapter to get the whole thing, but if I put this in the context of a groove, just so you can hear how it would be used, it would sound like this. All right, so I played, I think it was 1 bar of time there, and then I went into the 2 bars of this exercise that I've got printed up here, and that's what it sounds like. And so, if you're going to a section of a song that you really want to build the intensity, I mean, there are a lot of ways to do that, but one way to do that is to jump to these faster subdivisions like 32nd notes. And then, of course, we're on to something new with charts. So last week we learned 6/8. Here we have a 6/8 chart. All right, so again, it starts with 4 bars where we don't play, and there's links in the chapter for you to go to a page on Glory Falls website where you can download the minus drums for free, and the way that I would chart it is there. And so you can see here, I'll just play like that first groove when you do come in. It sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, it gives you a chance to now explore maybe what was a new meter for you in the context of a chart where we have, some grooves written out. And again, the idea of playing a certain amount and just following along and reading from line to line. There might be some repeats and some first and second endings in this chart as well, which are things that you're already familiar with. So I hope that this material has been helping you. Congratulations on making it to week 9. Congratulations on reading, hopefully. If things are helping you, send me a message. I'd love to hear from you. And other than that, I hope everyone's doing well, everyone's safe. We're getting near the end of quarantine here, maybe. So have a great night, and if there's anything that gives you questions or any trouble in this chapter, leave a comment, and I'll definitely get to that next week, which is our last week. Keep on drumming. God bless you.